Hey everybody, this is Pastor Chris coming to you live. It is September the 12th, 2022. How in the world are you doing today? I hope you are blessed and highly favored. Glad you're joining me here on this Monday. A couple things I want to do in the program. One, I have an announcement to make. Two, I want to talk a little bit about 9/11. And three, revival kind of recap. And then tomorrow I'll talk about Revelation chapter 1 being that light, that Christ can be in the midst of us and we can go out and be the light of the world. Kind of where we were going Sunday. So with that, the first thing I want to say is let's recognize 9/11. Didn't have a program on Sunday, but we recognized it Sunday. We had military stand up. We had first responders stand up. We talked about where you were. And, if you want to right now, you write down, where were you? I was in Natchez, Mississippi when 9/11 happened. And I saw it on a Walmart TV screen, and I thought, is this a movie? Have I seen this movie? What's going on here? And it was real. It was just, wow. I mean, just the heaviness of that moment, I still can't, it's hard to remember, but yet I do remember, right? I mean, you don't want to feel that way, that feeling of uncertainty, that feeling of your whole world collapsing around you, that feeling that we've been attacked. And it's like, what in the world just happened? So what a time, though. Also a time of unity. It didn't last long. Also a little bit of a time of maybe an awakening. Maybe people were interested in God I think church attendance went up for about a month, maybe 3 weeks. Isn't that kind of sad? But when you look at that and think, God couldn't get our attention then. We remember from a worldly, earthly perspective. But I posted on my Facebook page on 9/11 was the cross that was found at 9/11 in the rubble of the destruction. And I think Christ was trying to get our attention. I don't think America got it. I think we missed an opportunity to return to God. And you can see in the aftermath in 20 years how far we've fallen away from God. God is a patient God. He always waits. He doesn't want anyone to perish. And when I look back at 9/11, I'm appreciative of those who sacrificed so much. I remember that great day of evil. I remember that some of us did come together. And I think as a nation, in many ways, we did. But I think what we did was we didn't remember God. Now, I know some of us did, right? I mean, we see God, and we see God given a chance. But I see America, the secular aspect, a nation that missed God. And we're reaping what we sow now. We have so much sinfulness and immorality and people claiming that what is evil is good, and what once was known to be good now they call evil or hatred or bigotry. So sad day, but a day to remember, and a day to remember where we were, and hopefully as Christians we'll remember the good things, right? I see Camp Lujan. Hey, man, Keith, on that one, make sure you see all that stuff they're saying about, make sure you get a part of that claim. That water might have messed you up, bro. It might be worse than the Sprite things we were busting at Revival the other day. I see Camp Pendleton down there. We got the Marines in here answering where they were at. So Natchez, Mississippi for me. So with that, the other announcement now that we're kind of in the program a little bit. So I am going to be leaving for a week. I'll be gone all of next week. So we won't have the program, right? So I'm going to cut off on Wednesday. So Tuesday will be the last day of Woe for then the rest of that next week. So I'll pick back up though on the 26th of September. So just a pause, a break. I took one in August too. So I deserve a little break, but some people were concerned and said, hey, Pastor, you put so much in this revival. And they're right. I had planned it. I'm going to take a break now and take some of my leave. And anyway, I look forward to being refreshed. I hope you have been refreshed and renewed. And I'm going to do that too also with getting away for a little bit, taking some time off. So I thought revival was awesome. Let's move right into that cap. So just making sure we got recap. Tomorrow will be the last program until the 26th of September. But I thought I thought revival went good. And I know Sandy, I see Sandy's on here, and I've been kind of pulling Sandy in because she started off the testimonies. But from Sandy to Hallie to Jocelyn, to Sheila Fortner to Ashley Mabry to Keith Brooks, I thought the testimonies were meaningful to me, to see what God's doing in your life, to have a challenge to us to be at revival. And I thought revival was well attended. I mean, having over 100 people each night. We had well over 100 each night. I think our lowest attendance was 111. Bonfire, we had that. Inside, I think the most we had was 118, so we were very consistent. And there was some variety of people, different people that came, and different churches. Again, as I went around the room, there was at least 4 churches that had someone attend. Park Hall, besides Lexington Park Hall would have been the most of another group. But we had different churches represented, from Leonardtown to Faith Bible. Those were 2 churches, and there may have been even other churches that had some members attend our revival services. So I'm grateful, and revival was for us. So as I recap this, I just want us to start. We started on a Sunday, ended on a Sunday, but had 3 nights in a row. I know that was a lot to ask for people, and I hope now that they've seen it, as Sandy challenged us too, or she talked to me, you got to let this soak in, right? So you've got to let what we've just gone through and say, okay, God, wow, that was, now that you look back, to me, it was rapid. It was like, but now what some powerful messages, some great worship, some great fellowship, just experiencing this together. It was positive. This is something, listen, I deal with a lot of negatives. So for me, this was positive. This was upbeat. There wasn't somebody coming and being critical. There wasn't gossiping going on. There wasn't complaining going on. There wasn't, anything that came that had anything, it was very, very constructive. I did have to, the music was too loud at one point. We did have to deal with that, right? So somebody's trying to call me at the noon hour. Can you believe that? Anyway, so it was positive. And so I think that's part of revival is positive. But God just doesn't want to be positive with us, right? There's also some stuff in there, I hope, that can let us really reflect deep within. And that's where I want to go. So the reflection and the aftermath, starting with the first sermon from why we need revivals, because God's people fade away. We need revival because God's people fade away. So when we look in the days of Asa, and we look in the days of the Old Testament, and we see the establishment of the temple, and then we end with the candles, right, with Christ, the lampstands. This is where I'm going to go tomorrow. You've got the burnt offerings that they would make. Well, they got away from God. They got away from repentance. They got away from the atonement. They got away from this glory of God falling, and God's people scattered. They started building false. They started worshiping false teachers. They started worshiping false gods. They built shrines in the hills. They built Asherah tolls. They were worshiping Baal. How quickly, and then all the influences of culture came in, and they weren't worshiping the one true God. And when we get to Asa's day, they had not been worshiping the one true God. And so Asa came to restore, to revive the worship of God. That was one point of revival. So I pray that the sacrifices we made, the burnt offerings of our hearts, symbolically here, were a pleasing aroma to God. I pray that revival was a pleasing aroma to God. And I pray that like in the days of Asa, you experienced a newness of God, and you have been challenged to really be back right with God. And again, it's not about what we do, but it is. Our love and our commitment to Christ should lead us to being greater commitment to the Lord. So that was day one. Then we get into having Richard Pope here, and I, again, purposefully bringing Richard here because he's different. Yeah, he preaches a little bit like my style, not clinging to a pulpit really, and able to move around. He's energetic. He's rapid fire. He preaches off the cuff, off his heart, but yet he's prepared and biblical. And I like that. I think some people like to be scripted. Some people like the PowerPoint or fill in the blanks. That's just not my style, nor is that his style. I really prefer my style and his style, that in the midst type of preaching, really directly to the people. And so I hope you were blessed by that. I hope it was a lot like me, but not similar in ways, but different approaches, different way of saying things, right? I say some of the same things, but he was saying it a lot different, right? Or in a different perspective. I hope it got your attention. And so as we look at day one, we talked about the fiery furnace. And we looked at Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and we had King Nebuchadnezzar, and we had this beautiful statue idol made of gold. And the idols in our life we worship because we value them, or we find value in them, or we think they're important, or they're beautiful to us. And this is just my takeaway. There are bad idols and idols we need to get rid of, things that steal our time, our phone, our TV, Hollywood, ideologies, politics. There's a lot of things we could put in that. But I think God, because he had me looking at the things that are beautiful. My wife, my children, the church. The church. I want you to hear me. Those things can be idols for me if I'm not careful. Do I love church more than I love Christ? Do I love my wife more than I love Christ? Do I love my children more than I love Christ? And so for me, it was a moment of reflecting, still processing it. Will I love Christ, you, like I love Christ? And that's where I want to get you all. And when I go into that fire and I walk with the one that's in the flames, right? I don't want to be singed. I don't want to smell like smoke. I want to know that I walk with the one, the lover of my soul, and the one that I love and I place first. And that I'll come out of that fire with my wife and my children and church, which are all good things, because I love him and serve him first. And I pray I'll be better at that. So that was day one. I don't know what your idols are. If you want to write them in there, you can. Maybe what are your beautiful idols? Maybe they're similar to my list. And make sure that I have those in the right order. Second day was being baptized by fire. And he spent a little time in Matthew chapter 3. So Daniel 3 was first day, Matthew 3. But he went on to some text in Mark 2 about the father with the possessed child that the demons couldn't get cast out, but Jesus could. I'm not going to focus so much on that, but the baptism of fire. Listen, there is Christ who has come, and this is for believers and non-believers. Christ has come to baptize us with fire. Christ has come with the gospel, and Christ has come to die on a cross, be dead, and then raised from the dead to give us life. Christ has come. And John knew he was not worthy. We know that Jesus is worthy. So I want you to walk away from this week and God baptized me by fire. You've heard being baptized by fire is just being immersed in it. God, I am immersed in you. I am here. Baptize me by fire. I want to serve you. I want to love you. I am not worthy, but you are worthy, and I want to bring you glory, just like John the Baptist. Well, if we do that and baptized by fire, remember the fire that God has lit in our heart. That's where we want to be. That's where I want to be. And then we talked about the burning bush. One of my favorite stories of the Bible. The burning bush is just awesome. And so when I think of that burning bush, and I think, again, God wants to get your attention. God got the attention of Moses. Imagine going through the wilderness, taking care of the sheep. He sees this burning bush. It's not being consumed. Richard had a powerful testimony to go with that, and about his name and about Jacob. And I don't want to focus there. I want to focus on this experience. He had an experience. He can connect to the story of Moses. And so can you. It'll be different than Richard's story. It'll be different than my story. But I can know that I want to serve this God. That I want to say, here I am, Lord, use me. I want God to constantly get my attention. And I hope you want him to get yours too. So if we walk away with just some of those things, a pleasing aroma to God, getting rid of those idols in our life so we can walk in the fire, being baptized by fire, knowing that he is worthy and we are not. And then the burning bush experiencing, God getting our attention. if we can simply, those things right there, and you apply those to your life, that will bring a renewal, a revival to our church. And then we get to the final day, which I'm going to talk about tomorrow. I hope, and I don't know if the effect came off the way I wanted it to, but how we ended with the candle lights and the darkness, and then letting the light all shine in, trying to remind us that we are to take the light to the world. We are the light of the world. Christ has given us the light of life, and he is the light of the world. And he is amongst us, in our midst, and we are his candlestand. And will we wick it and make a brighter, clearer, pure flame? Because he's in our midst, and he wants us to be aglow. Will we be ablaze? Will we be a flame? Will we be a flicker, or will we be extinguished? And I pray we'll be a flame. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. And again, from my perspective, an afterglow, if you will, using the lingo of glow and light, an afterglow of revival was that I think it went really well. From the worship to all the work that went into it. And listen, there were planning was frustrating at times. You know, and the AV team had a lot of work. There were some frustrations there. There was, getting the hotel rooms, getting all the logistics taken care of, getting everybody here. Things don't always go just totally smooth and easy, but it all came together. And I thought it was a pretty anointed, powerful moment. And then the last one I want to pay attention to is Kenneth Etta. Thank him for ministering to the children, the families of the school, because he came out here on a Friday to do that. And thank you for him coming out to us. And we got to have some fun. So I think we had a mixture of a lot of things coming together. We had fun, we had fellowship, we had food, we had worship, we had proclamation of the gospel. We had prayer, some powerful prayer. I thought that was my one thing I had to do in all of revival was, God, I'm going to lead these prayers, praying for our renewal, praying for our home life, and praying for our church. And I hope it was moving for you. And then Shawnette and I love sharing that song with you. I was losing my voice a couple of the nights, but light the fire in our hearts once again. May God do that for all of us. Hey, that's all I've got for you today. I'll see you here tomorrow, and I hope God's lighting the fire on you. Don't let this fade out. Don't let this go away. It's not an emotion. Let it be a reality in your life, and may God use it in a powerful way. Hey, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you have been blessed by this, and remember these two realities. God loves you, and so do I. You have a great day. I'll see you here tomorrow.